Hi, my name is Jeanine DiMenna. I'm the chef and co-owner of the View Grill in Glen, Cove on Long Island. Okay, great.
Yay!
That was the hardest part.
I knew if we started with that, you were not going to do it, so it was good.
I actually started at this very restaurant when I was about 14 years old. Me and my friends would hang around outside, and one night somebody didn't show up. They asked me if I could come in and do dishes, and I was basically hooked ever since. And it was great atmosphere, fast paced, you know, it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. I met my husband here, soon-to-be husband, when I was about 15. He worked at tennis courts, and I was working here. And from then, I went to culinary school, which my mother-in-law found out about on Long Island. It was a nice small school. It was a nice, easy school. And fast forward 25 plus years, and now I own the place. So myself, I had a restaurant, Page One, for 20 years in Glen Cove. And at the time, somebody was supposed to take this restaurant over, and it didn't work out. It was right around the time that the season was starting. So they asked me if I would come in and I would get it up and running. And at that time, you know, I said, okay. And I came down and I started getting it ready for the golfers and things. And at the end of the season, they made me an offer. You know, as the Godfather says, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so we went from Page One to down here, and basically, you know, we took the same ideas and stuff and just brought it here. Yeah, the restaurant itself, I mean, we do lots and lots of parties. We do a lot of birthday parties, showers. It works out really great for that. We're a very modest restaurant in terms of our pricing. You know, we try to keep it at a certain price range, and we try to really appeal to middle class more so. But the restaurant itself, aside from the parties, we do regular dinners, lunches. We also have I kind of call it a built-in food truck. You know, it's like a permanent food truck where it's a snack bar. We do everything from souvlaki. It's Greek influenced, Greek American influence, and we do everything from souvlaki to gyros to mac and cheese, all different types of burgers. We have a lot to offer from. We also do delivery with it, takeout, all different salads. It's a lot of fun, so it gives like a fun twist to the restaurant. So you could basically come here and have a gyro or a burger or filet mignon and lobster tails. So we kind of we try to be everything to everybody, and I think we pull it off pretty good. The tiki bar is really nice. It has a view of the water. We do different types of drink specials. A lot of the food that you can get out there, I mean, we would never deny anybody who wants, you know, the dinner menu. We do have a special menu for the tiki bar, but if you wanted the dinner menu and the lunch menu, it's perfectly fine to have it out there as well. What we basically do at the snack bar, which we're calling the Apollo Grill, you can get that at the tiki bar as well. So that menu is doubling at the tiki. We also have somebody who comes in and shucks fresh clams and oysters Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, which is also a lot of fun. People can come down, they can get something at the snack bar, Apollo Grill. They could take that, walk around the back, and just sit and look at the view and relax, have a drink, have a cup of coffee, and just sit and relax and look at the view. We were told that this is the best view in Glen Cove, and I think it is, you know, so. What makes our restaurant different? I think one, even though I've only had this for 5 years, that I've had the other restaurant, Page One, for 20 years, and I think a lot of it is longevity. I've been doing this for a very, very long time in my hometown. I think there's definitely a bond, I think, that I have with the community that I don't know that other restaurants have. You know, I'll have the mayor call me up and say, hey, can you do this or can you do that? And, you know, I feel so part of the community, as well as I think the community feels comfortable as well here. And it's just not about the food. Is, you know, I'd like to think that, you know, what makes me different is I'm the best chef in the world, but that's not, you know. you know, but I think that having such a relationship with the community is what really stands us apart. I feel that it's very important when you have any business, restaurant or anything, that if you're doing something in the community that you have to give back to the people who are giving to you, and I think that's really, really important. You know, you have to have that camaraderie and that support, and it works both ways. It's not just a one-way street. And I think that donating, we donate to every single cause that's out there, whether we're donating a gift coin or I'm donating my time to cook for something or do something. And I just feel like that's so important when you have a business in general. Back in my day, the chefs were, they were at their restaurants and they were there. And if they weren't cooking, at least they were there. And, you know, for me to go to a restaurant in the city and to be able to meet a chef and eat their food, and I mean, it was a thrill. You know, it's like, you know, some people see movie stars, I see chefs, and, you know, and I remember when I first started, you know, I would run home on a Sunday and watch shows, and Great Chefs of the East was one of the big chef-driven shows at that time, and a Louisiana Kitchen with Chef Paul Prudhomme, who was one of my absolute favorite chefs in the world. And those were really big influences, and Mark Miller and Robert Del Grande and Stephen Piles, they were doing a lot of Southwest, and that was really a big thing of cooking at that time. It wasn't the way it is now. And, you know, I love them, and I follow them, and, you know, I'd see them on TV, and you know, it was one of the first books I ever got was Great Chefs of the East, I mean, I'm sorry, Great Chefs of the Southwest, and I carried that book with me everywhere. I mean, and it was just great. And, you know, as time went on, you know, obviously there was a bunch of different chefs, but for me, it's a little disappointing now, food in general, because it's just, for me right now, it just seems to be all over the map, and I feel like I understand, and I do try to stay current with modernist cuisine and stuff, and try to, you know, stay on techniques that are newer techniques that are coming out. But I think that when a restaurant chef has a lot of restaurants, I don't think he's a chef anymore. I think he's a restaurateur. And if I go to, I remember going to Bobby Flay's Mesa Grill in the city, and Bobby was there, and I had met him prior to that. And he came out, he sat at our table, and he brought all this food out, and I mean, it was great. I mean, here's Bobby Flay, you know, and he's sitting at my table, and he's talking to my family, and he's bringing food out from the kitchen, and that to me was going to a restaurant with the chef, you know, and seeing the chef, and just, you know, that was, you know, it's exciting, you know. It was an experience for me of a lifetime. I never thought I would see my face and the Food Network on the same screen. And what happened was, I remember I was working and I got a phone call, and somebody came in and they go, oh, you know, so-and-so from the Food Network. And I get on the phone, I thought it was a prank, you know. I said, oh, it's gonna, you know, so as the conversation went on, I'm still thinking it's a prank. I said, well, you know, if this is serious, just send me, give them the email. I said, send me the stuff. And they did. And it was about, you had to fill out like 15 pages of stuff. So luckily my husband, he said, my husband Fred, who helps me at the restaurant, oh my God, I couldn't do it without him at this point. But he says, come on, you know, do this. And I was horrified of thinking to do this. And more so because there's so many young kids now, and they're really good. And I said, oh, this old lady's gonna go on, and what if I make a fool out of myself? So it's kind of like scared that way. And so my husband really pushed me. He filled out all the paperwork for me, and you had to do interviews and all kinds of stuff. And I did it, and it was just absolute thrill of a lifetime. I would never do it again, and the reason why I never do it again is A, I'm not competitive, and B, I didn't make a fool out of myself. So I don't want to ever change that. When I look back on that, it's so exciting for me. I never want to go on another show and, you know, do something dumb and then feel like, oh my God, the whole world saw that, you know. Well, not the whole world, but, you know, people saw that. So Yeah, these necklaces actually have a lot of meaning to me. You know, one is my my wedding band, which I can't wear on my ring, my finger, because my fingers are too big now. But you know, it has double meaning. You know, obviously it's my husband and our commitment, but it's also my mother-in-law had given this to me the night before our wedding, and she soon passed away. So mostly everything around my neck is something of somebody that is very dear to my heart. This I actually got in Europe. Yeah, it's my little fish, but that's like my personality. I'm like a herringbone. But this is something that means a lot to me, and my cross, you know, these are all, my father passed away, and it's something of him. So, you know, I like to have that energy around me of things that people, you know, who are dear to me are close to me all the time, with just, you know. But I am a Pisces, and this is my, you know, it's important to me. I'm actually on the cusp, so I'm either Aquarius or Pisces, but I'm definitely 100% Pisces, you know, and that's my Pisces. You know, and I got, like I said, I got this in Europe, and it just means a lot to me. We do, and you know, I've had people come in the kitchen as well, but I've done things where we're out in the dining room, and I'm just teaching stuff that people can do, make one meal for 2 people. A lot of the demos, too, are definitely geared towards people who are at home. People are like, oh, you did this, you know. I'm here all day, I'm prepping my food, and then I'm putting it out. Most people are going to work, and they're coming home, and you know, they don't have 8 hours to prep all their stuff out and to say, oh, look at my food. So what I try to do is I try to teach them shortcuts and things that they can make that will look nice, and give them tips on, hey, you can prep this, you know, a day before, and then do it, you know, put it all together. Or if you're having, you know, 8 to 10 or 20 people over and you want to do some hors d'oeuvres, this is the way you could do them, so you're not pulling your hair out and trying to figure out, oh, you know, timing is so important when it comes to cooking. But if you have little tips and techniques and you understand them, it's a lot easier to do it. So that's what we hit on. And for couples, you know, maybe we'll do a little more romantic type food, or teach them how to cook together, and not, you know, one has to be a chef, one has to be the sous chef, you know. Can't yell at the other one, you know. You only do that in kitchens, professional kitchens, you're allowed to yell. But we also do murder mysteries, and my husband stars in a lot of those. And they practice a lot at the restaurant too, but we do a couple of them a year, probably do about 4 of them a year. And they're so much fun, and the audience gets involved, and they always think the chef did it. I don't know why, but they are a lot of fun. So, you know, we just have a lot going on at the restaurant, you know, with the trivia and psychic nights, and magic night, comedy nights. So we got a lot going on.